So we're just doing some sharpening before we jump into work today. So we're using a CBN wheel. So my gouges, I'm grinding to a 45-degree angle. Now we're shutting it off. And I'm going to set it to a 25-degree for my skew. So we're going to be using this gauge here. Hey, morning. Alright, so with my initial grind here, you can see that I still have marker that I'm going to have to keep grinding. So you can see the marker's gone now. It's very sharp. Now I do the majority of my grinding on the 45, so we're waiting for that to slow down. And that's it. So my gouges, my scrapers, I do a 45-degree angle on those. And then my skew, I use a 25-degree angle. And then on my my bowl gouge, I do a 40-degree angle. Now the reason I can use these setup I don't know, blocks, if you will, is because I'm using the CBN wheel, so it's not going to change diameter on me. If you're using like the white, oxide wheels or whatever, those are going to constantly be changing sizes the more you use them and hone them. So these really aren't great for that. For the spindle work I do, that's kind of what I found my sweet spot. I've seen videos where, other people change the degree depending whether it's hardwood or softwood or, yeah. I'm not to that point in my life yet. Yeah, you can grind to whatever angle you want to. Yeah, my bowl gouge. I used that little blue jig. And then somebody came up with this setup jig. Well, actually, that gives you your 40 degree there. And it's for setting setting this guy that gets clamped in. And then it works off a pivot. No, that's just that's the angle you're grinding the point to. So this is what, 25 degrees? Yeah, so each one is 25 degrees. Just gives you a nice sharp point. Now, if you're riding the bevel, so if you're using the bowl gouge and riding the bevel across, and then, yeah, you'd be holding that at a 45. But for this, that just doesn't matter. Hello! How's Catnip doing today? So I'm done pretty much on the scroll saw altogether right now. That being said, I'm probably still going to be cutting out about 12 spindles a day just for the website. So today's going to be primarily just about getting these shafts made. And then I'm probably going to do a little bit of sanding off stream and then work on some supported spindles as well. Be working on Tibetan today. I'm doing pretty good today. I feel pretty good. The best I've felt in a while. It's raining. It's not extremely hot. It's like 63 degrees outside. So the workshop is, I got the windows open, got the fans going. I think we're about 72 in here right now, which is perfect. So I got about 4 hours in already. I got in and got a bunch of cleaning and laser engraving done. Then Vicky came in. She didn't sleep good last night, so I think it's going your way. I'm in Wisconsin. It's gonna take a while to get there. When I walked to work, it just started drizzling. That's a little bit heavier out. I'm a hair below center. So if I come in here, it kind of depends on the thickness of the gouge. The gouge is riding pretty much a hair under center. The skew is a little bit further down than that. So when I'm using the skew, I'm actually bringing my handle down to bring that up. Just because the cutting is a little bit higher on this one. So yeah, so the gouges are just about dead center, hair below. But you can adjust that by just moving it up and down. There's a dude on TikTok that makes pens, and he has this set like super high, and he's at like a, I don't know, probably a 45 to 50 degree angle. His tools are basically in his armpit. I'm like, that can't be comfortable. but I can't say anything on the stream. I'm not that guy. You know, if it works for you, great. Let's see. Primal says, those look nice. I wonder how you made spindles. You're a crocheter and you love to see how things are made for your craft? Absolutely. I haven't made crochet hooks in a while. The spindles just keep me busy. So these Turkish spindles, the arms are cut out on the scroll saw. So I cut these out by hand. And then these have some laser engraving on the top. It's a Turkish design. Now, there's a lot of discoloring from the lasering, but we have to sand them anyway, so I don't bother masking and trying to clean it all up. Yeah. So we are making Turkish-style drop spindles this morning for spinning yarn. Yes, people spin yarn, and I'm one of those crazy people. So this is how you spin yarn. This is what came before the spinning wheel. So you can see it's running perfectly straight. Now, this is called a story stick. It just has lines on it. I'm going to transfer those lines over. Yeah, spinning's awesome. So, this is my test whirl, so I slide that on. And then I made a cutout here so I can register the story stick. That way, when I transfer the lines over, hey, B, how's it going? Good to see you again. That way, they'll all be in the same location. So it doesn't really matter, you know, where this taper ends, because I can shift around to get them all to be in the same location. So this little test whirl is made out of Vera wood. This is Argentina Ligamente. It's super, super hard. It's going good? Awesome. This is my backup one. This is hard maple. This one, if I would use it like over, you know, over time, that hole is going to get a little bit bigger because I'm constantly wedging it on there, where this wood is a lot stronger than this wood. Hey, Timmy, how's it going? Welcome in. So I got my lines drawn. So on the bottom, we got 2 beads. I'm going to be using a beading tool. Now, I could use a skew and go in there at separate angles. This just does it all at once. So I stick it in and give it a little wiggle. What I'm trying to do is avoid chatter. If I would just stick it in, it would vibrate, and then there'd be a whole bunch of radial lines. Alright, we're going to take our skew, and set in the finial. And then I'm defining the diameter under the finial. We're going to come down and just taper everything together. Now we're going to burn a couple decorative lines between the beads. This is just picture frame hanging wire that I took apart, and then I basically applied it back together with 2 strands to give me the thickness that I wanted. Alright, let's see. Deanne says, obviously using a lathe can be dangerous, but is there anything that might not seem wrong but extremely dangerous? Like the tool setup and positioning? Speed kills. When you start out, run your lathe slow. You know, I'm running this wide open because I'm making really thin stuff, but I've been doing it for a long time. You know, try to find a happy medium, but yeah. Don't touch your wood. I have to because these are so thin. Be gentle. You don't want to put too much pressure. Being too aggressive can cause catches, and next thing you know, you got logs flying at your face. Thank you. You know, get yourself some face protection. I do. Yep. So I run a business called Snyder Spindles, and we're getting ready for some fiber shows. So normally, when I'm live streaming, it's doing production work, and then once I'm done with my show season, then I can get back into making tutorial videos again. It's just, yeah, we're getting ready for 3 festivals. You know, the bigger diameter, the slower you want to be. You know, I would probably try to be like half of that. I mean, right now I'm at 3,600 RPM, 3,629. Turn it down to about 1,500. It'll work just fine. It's just going to take a little bit more time in order to take the material off. But you know, we're making nice little curls here. So the whirls, the cross arms, they're not sanded yet. So the next step would be sanding, balancing, and then we'd put a finish on them. We'd be laser engraving the business name and the weight and wood type of the arms. So the reason I put the weight on is so if you have a spindle that's, you know, 1 ounce or 28 grams, you can weigh your spindle on like a postal scale when you're spinning and then subtract the weight of the spindle. Then you know how much yarn you have on there. You know, and when you're first starting out, you know, take some whatever wood you have laying around. If you got a 2x4, cut it in half, you know, get it on the spindle, and then just practice. Yeah, I really enjoy woodworking. There was a time when almost everybody had a wood shop. It was kind of like the hobby thing to do, you know. I think the heyday was, you know, in the 50s to, you know, the 80s. Hey, Lyndon, we are making drop spindles for spinning yarn. Do I make hooks on here too? I haven't made a crochet hook in quite a while. So in order to get the gauge right, I would have to buy another one. I got a circle gauge that has all the different millimeters on. That way I could set up my caliper to get the right thickness there. I have been doing this full time. This is my 13th year, so a little over 13 years. It's a lot easier to balance something that's already balanced. I'm just saying. It is the dream. Yeah, Domo, if you could find something that you can pay your bills doing something you love. I'll never be rich. That's not my goal. But my bills are paid. Oh yeah. You know, I also have some of this resin impregnated Dymilux. I mean, when you start looking at, the expensive, like needle sets, even crochet hooks, they're made out of this stuff. Let me grab one. So, yeah, with the resin, so I cut it out, I sand it, and then I buff it with compound. So, I don't think it's is it Knitter's Pride that uses this stuff quite a bit? But yeah, it's really strong. Yeah, this stuff is nice. It's expensive. That's why it's nice. Charcoal? Yeah, that purple is nice. I got purple with the charcoal and red with the charcoal. And then the multicolored stuff. We'll see how they sell at these festivals, and I'll probably be ordering some more. It's just, it takes between a month and a half for them to make it. Plus another week or two for it to get here. You have your own website. Yeah. Yep, so got SnyderSpindles.com, and we also are on Etsy. Yeah, internationally, we use Etsy. For America, we use Snyder Spindles. Spelled like the pretzels. Or if you're on the East Coast, spelled like the chips too. Remember, they're not associated with each other. Yeah, so the Diamond Lux has to be more expensive because it takes a lot longer to work and the materials are a lot more expensive. Traditionally, I try to stay kind of in the middle, not really cheap, but not really expensive. So we'll see how they go over. Yep, so that's just wire, and yeah, all we're doing is burning a line into the wood. A lot of people use guitar strings. So the little end pieces, I make really small shafts out of it. I make teeny tiny spindles as well. And I make some pretty big ones too. So the reason I use the picture frame hanging wire is I got a lot of it, so it'll burn out, it'll break. So I start out with a really long piece, and as it breaks, I make it shorter and shorter and shorter. That's why I'm always burning on one end. Just like candles, you don't want to burn them on both ends. So when I streamed a couple days ago, I did a little tour, and the shop was pretty destroyed. But somebody asked, I'm like, okay. So yesterday I came in here and I did do a lot of cleaning. So I put my my sanding station back. Sorry. There we go. So I put my sanding station back, and over here I cleaned out everything, and I now have the ability to saw things again, which is nice. Down there, this was all just filthy, so we got the majority of everything cleaned up on this side. So there's walk-in room now. Doesn't look like it, but I cleaned that. That was just full of dust. So we're making progress. It's kind of hard when you're busy, you know. You want to get stuff done. You need to get stuff done. Right? It is a workshop. It's one of those things where it's a lot easier to focus when you don't have a mess. So since we've been in this commercial space, it's a lot. See, it breaks. It's a lot cleaner than the shop at home used to be. That's for sure. A clean workshop is a sign of a dirty mind. I used to have that on my wall. And it's not like we have a ton of people coming in the shop either, you know? It's like... Yet yesterday, the power company came in to inspect the gas lines. That was pretty exciting. They came right when I was taking a nap. Great timing, guys. So this is hard maple. Yeah, we'll put this one together. Not that it matters, I mean, they get balanced later, but it's always nice to see them spin. Yeah. So once that's sanded out, you know, it'll all be this color. I do. It's Snyder Spindles, SNYDER. Yeah, I don't really post all that much. So my partner does a lot of the social media stuff. But yeah, I do have a feed. So yeah, but the last time I posted was July 15th, so got some low whirls on the top row there. Ooh, boxes. Make this one into 7 inches. Had a little vibration on the top there. Appreciate it. Now I'm going to burnish with the wood chips. So think of burnishing like a friction polish. So this is not my favorite sandpaper. I really like this Flex film. It's got like a plastic backing on it. But the place I get my sandpaper from is out. So I just bought these little 5-inch, random orbital sander pads. And they're fine. They were on sale. You get like was it a 5-pack? I don't know. They're 55 cents a pack. So it's kind of hard not to buy them. Even if I go through a bunch of them, it's okay. So there's a 7. Which should go on the next size down. Okay, the coffee's kicking in. So let's see. I wish it was Yep, not a problem. Oh, I hear ya. I've got a corner-to-corner blanket that may never be done. All right, guys, I have to use the restroom. I will be right back. All that coffee, it shouldn't be 5 minutes. And I'm back. All right. So yeah, Dion. Another big thing: safety. You know, these are really nice when you first start out. Yeah, no loose clothing, no neckties. You know, probably watch isn't a great idea. This has a silicone band on it. It is what it is. Rings are bad. Loose clothing. Yeah. Gloves, for the most part, don't wear gloves. If you ever watch a YouTube video where a person like, okay, time to put on my work gloves, yeah, don't watch that video. Good. I know they're a little pricey, but it's way better than getting struck in the face by something. Yeah, there might be some situations where you'd want to, but yeah, if we're just starting out, probably the best advice is not to. So these are shafts for drop spindles. They could also be travel wands for stealth, you know, spell making. So we are spindle turning spindles, which is amazing. So we're making Turkish style drop spindles. Welcome back. Now I feel guilty. Now I got to work on that corner-to-corner blanket again. Dang it. I'm on the decrease right now. I could just call it a shitty shawl and give it to Vicky. Well, depending on your workshop, you might not need an extractor. I mean, it's just I'm here for so long. I went for many, many years without having one. You know, and then the chips will land as they may. Yeah, there you go, Rick. Make this into a 7-inch one as well. Depends on the shop. I mean, I make plenty of wood chips, you know. The main purpose for me for this is to collect the real fine sawdust. I've made spindles out of chopsticks and potatoes. Oh, one of my favorite spindles that I made was those little push pops where it's like a toilet paper tube and then a plastic plunger with a handle. I took the plunger and handle out. Boom. Instant spindle. Perfect for cobweb to lace weight. Throw in a couple half hitches and away you go. Oh no, another Aussie. Would that be, that's not Lair of the Bearded Dragon, is it? No, the tailstock height is set in stone. Yep, it's a fixed height. No, Ben's workshop. Okay. Alright. So on this one, you can see how far that's off. So now I get to preach about center finders. So, if I was to take this and use a center finder, this is an awfully big center finder for this, but I didn't want to grab a little one. So I marked the center. So you'd think I'd be able to clamp this in, line up that center piece, put my tailstock in and turn it. That would be all fine and well, but this is only centered on this one plane right here. So if this thing is bent, this is not going to be the actual center of the overall piece. So what I do is I eyeball the center, clamp it down, and then I keep the tailstock out until it comes up to speed, and then I put the tailstock in. Now, if I were to just put it on the dead center there, this thing would just be bent like that by the time you're done. Now, that's awfully, it's way off, so we'll just bring this to round on the back here. So, Jordy, the cat in my thumbnail picture for today, we had chicken. So we had skin-on chicken thighs that we did in the air fryer with some seasoning, salt, and stuff, and we had broccoli. And it was hot out, so we had the air conditioner on in the bedroom, and we were eating chicken and broccoli in the bedroom, as one does. Well, Jordy kept sneaking in there. I thought he was trying to steal the chicken. That kitty cat was stealing and eating the broccoli. He also loves butternut squash. He didn't go for the chicken, he went for the broccoli. Yes, he's all about the food pyramid. He's quite offended when the U.S. government kind of flip-flopped everything around. You have 6, though? Yeah. Fosters, yeah. Yeah, both of mine. My first one was a foster. My cousin actually runs a shelter here. And he was just one of those kittens that refused to tame himself. All his brothers and sisters were fine. They were at, like, PetSmart. They got it out right away. But, yeah, Jordy was just a pain in the tuchus. He refused to be a good kitty. No, he refused to be tame. Many weeks we worked with him. And then we have 2. Our other one's Luna, which was also trapped. She wasn't too bad. She was only, like, a couple weeks before she gave up. It's kind of good timing. We were fostering her when I had COVID. And we were separating the cats, so she was like hanging out in the bedroom with me. So she hid in the bathroom for weeks. I always joke with Vicky, I'm like, the next cat we get isn't going to be used. We're going to get a fresh cat that loves us right away. Our next, if we have another cat, it'll be a foster. It's just the way it works. You mean they're ravioli? Yeah. You know, they just need time. They need a place to desensitize and come to terms with their current situation. What? Yeah. It's 74 degrees in the shop. It was 78 when I got here. Yeah, but it's only 63 outside and we got the windows open. Yeah. It could be why I'm in such a good mood today, because I'm not, you know, boiled. So, I'm that close to getting a workshop kitty, but we don't need a workshop kitty. Especially, we're thinking about moving, like out of state. So, having to move with 2 cats would be enough. 3, especially if they don't know each other, that'd be horrible. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mentioned I had an eye appointment, and yeah, so my retinopathy has not gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better, so I guess that's a good thing. I like seeing. It really prevents me from walking into things. Honey, they're trying to talk us into getting a workshop kitty. I said with the possibility of moving, that's not really great. Even though we're not going to move for a year, I'd hate to have to move with 3 kitties, especially 2 kitties that don't know the other kitty.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of bad.
Right.
Things got bloody in the Red Roof Inn. Just like everybody needs a bosom for a pillow. So our schedule kind of got turned around because we had some packaging. We had a custom order that had to go out on. Normally we ship Mondays and Thursdays, but we shipped on Monday, and then we were waiting for a thing to dry, so we shipped on Wednesday. So we didn't ship yesterday. We're going to ship again today. So I do plan on streaming for another hour or so. Then we'll get the packaging done. So yeah, Mickey's gonna take the weekend off. So I assume I'm gonna be here. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be running the CNC machine all weekend, so probably no streaming. So as of right now, we don't have any open wholesale orders with Turkish spindles. The wholesale orders I do have, they're going to pick up at shows. So I can just add them to the workflow. The part of the CNC machine is I need to make a whole bunch of these for a wholesale order. So these are top whirl, so there's a shaft that goes through, and then this indent, I have a sublimated disc that slides into it that's flush, so I can sublimate images onto it. So I'm gonna have to make a bunch of these, and they ordered some mini ones, and I don't have a file for that. I was making them a different way, so I have to adjust and make a smaller one. Actually, I know Vicky's packaging, but I can show you what one looks like. I think everybody, so these are all drying. Everybody needs a pegboard, so you have your own shop, you know. All right. So I do some paintings, some classical paintings I'll put in there as well. But, you know, you got to support your Dutch heritage. Yeah. So this is a new size I'm working on, but I need to spin this one up before. So I have something to take pictures of, so I can say, you know, how much will fit on it. So I'm guessing this will hold probably about 5 ounces. Oh, I have something I need to print, but it had to run an update, so it's like, yeah, I worked out of a 12 by 12, well, like a 10 by 10 workshop, and then a little bedroom for years. So yeah, we've been in the shop about 2 years now. You kidding me? Let me know if you see anything that's lucette shaped. How about that one? Oh, okay. We'll make this one that looks like a lucette. There we go. All right. I was gonna turn the speed down. Nah, it's fine. All right, let's see all that prints. Yep. So we got a few 3D printers. Then we got a few laser engravers, and yeah. Yeah, so we decided not to open it up to the retail in the front and use it for packaging. It's just, there's no business in the downtown here. Yeah, so this is a little 126-year-old building. Used to be a little grocery store 126 years ago. It's a typical, like, you know, Midwest downtown where you'd have, you know, long rectangular buildings stacked next to each other all the way down. So we're connected on that side. The side of the building, there's like an alley that's maybe 2 feet wide, if that. And it's blocked off, so. So prior to me, there was a couple short-term tenants in here. Before them, it was a woodworking shop that connected with the next building over. So yeah, right now that's screwed down to the floor. Take some screws off, you can raise that, and these two buildings are attached. Well, the kitty in the thumbnail lives at home, and we're at the workshop. Right? Oh yeah, yeah. I got a little distracted with Ted Lasso, but yeah, I'm rewatching Doctor Who. It's on AMC Plus right now, so I think I'm in season 6 yet. Could be worse. I could be making rocking chairs. Yeah? Okay.
I just let her know how many we had. I'm okay with doing that many duplicates, but if you don't want that many, you need more pictures. It's basically what I said.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have the packaging area in the front. That's where I was showing you those spindles. And I think the main reason, we'll walk over there. Funny part, on the way to work today, I listened to the song Godzilla. Yep, so this is our packaging area up front here. So this is stuff that's going to be in the update. So we do a weekly update. And then this is stuff that's going out today. That's Vicky's coffee and her apple. But yeah, this is our packaging area. So over here in the racks is where we have all our product. Oh yeah, that extractor is quite loud. So she does the packaging here, lays it down. Well, she puts everything in the box, and I do the packaging, the bubble wrap, all that stuff over here. And I know I'm horrible. I had breakfast, and we made breakfast burgers. So I made basically a bacon cheeseburger with an egg on it. Oh yeah. There's always cats. And we have some boxes there. But yeah, this is the main reason we don't have a shop cat, is we want to keep the couch in good shape. How much per the cup? What cup? The coffee? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, the red Solo cup? Yeah. Yeah. And then we got our little breakfast area in the bathroom. All the bubble wrap. Yeah, that's true. We also have a full basement, And I didn't point out the shop piano. Everybody needs a shop piano. And boxes, yes. They love boxes too. But yeah, so I was considering, I've been thinking about this for probably over a decade. I would like to get an older piano strip it down, make things out of the components, and then sell the stuff out of it to raise money to donate to my my local high school's music department. Oh, the rooster painting? My aunt actually made that. So yeah, that's all palette knife. So my father had some roosters that looked like this until one attacked my mom. And then we went down to just some normal, some more normal breeds of chickens. Yeah. The 3D printer, okay. Tell something about it? Sure. So, as far as the 3D printers go, this one is just starting to print there. Yeah. So these are X1 carbons. These are pretty much what put Bamboo Lab on the map. So they just recently discontinued these. I've had these for multiple years. So these were kind of the first plug-and-play printers that just sort of worked right out of the box. Next to that, we got another Bamboo Lab printer. This is an A1 Mini. I print a lot of TPU with this one, so that's why it's in a case. Over here, we got this little King Rune. Yeah, this is a few years old. Yeah, the Bamboo Lab, they work nice. I know a lot of people don't like the closed ecosystem with them, but yeah, for me, that's not really an issue. Yeah, so these two printers here are my oldest printers. I started out with Ultimaker 2s back in the day, and then I had a bunch of Sculpto printers, and so these I make little sheep that I give away with to use up spools. The A1 Mini is one you have. Yeah, they're a nice little printer. I mean, for the price, it's kind of hard to say anything about that. You know, and since I'm printing TPU, I have a dryer here. So, TPU really absorbs the moisture much worse than PLA. Yeah. For me, it's like you got to pick your battles. I mean, yeah, I love open source printers, don't get me wrong, but, you know, I'm running a different firmware that, you know, this printer should have came with. And, you know, this is Ender 3 S1 V2. So this is like their first real kind of their first real plug-and-play kind of printer that kind of worked, you know. So, yeah. I mean, you know, you don't got the big tube, you know, with the feeder in the back. It's direct drive up front. So, yeah. Yeah, so I've been printing for about 10 years now. So, wooden board or metal? I'm a little lost. Yeah. I don't consider myself having a farm either, you know. You know, when things get busy, I will have all 5 running, but right now, I got 1 or 2 running. So we are making Turkish-style drop spindles today. Put my headphones in. There we go. So YouTube does not like me sharing music, so my hearing protection have They're Bluetooth headsets, so. And that's okay. We can always use context clues. I'm really good at spelling until I hit enter and I'm like, oh man. Yeah, not a problem. We do have a couple more rooms in the back for wood storage and that kind of thing. And then we also have a full basement, but it's, you know, this spooky wet basement, so. Yeah, so right now we're in show mode, so I'm working 12 to 14 hours a day. I mean, I got here at about 6 a.m. and did a whole boatload of laser engraving. So if you don't have a four-jaw chuck, give me 1 minute here. The other way of doing it would be using like a spur. Right? So this is a spur drive. I'm sure if you ever looked at like commercial made furniture like chairs and stuff on the bottom, you'll see like a plus sign. That's what this does. You'd think, you know, every time you buy a lathe it comes with one. I should have a bunch of them. I found one. And they come in different sizes as well. Some of them have retractable pins. This one is just solid in there. Set screw, you can pop it out to replace it. But yeah, you'd mark the center and then you would pound that in, stick it in. Yeah. I mean, there's vacuum chucks too, but those are for finishing. Oh, that is gorgeous. Wow. So Vicky just brought over this canary wood one? Oh, that's pretty. It's like having an alligator, but you have every one except for the size you need. And then if you got kids, forget it. Now that we're empty nesters, I could probably build back my toolbox. Yeah, that canary wood is gorgeous. What's that? This is Osage orange. But Osage orange is yellow. Yeah, yes it is. Yeah, canary wood, it varies in color quite a bit from piece to piece. Yeah, the one with the little ball on, the Tibetan style spindle. I started making a bunch of the whirls. I have some thinner, that Dymolex stuff, the resin impregnated with the shafts made out of that I've been using. When we're not in show mode, which we are right now, we got to get stuff ready for the shows. We'll do custom work as well, yeah. But like right now, not a good time for it. Yeah, so we've been getting ready for the shows for the last couple of months, and now it's crunch time. So to put things into comparisons, a big fiber festival, I can make more than I make in a month with my online sales. So one weekend I can make 4 weeks worth of sales. So I need three months worth of stuff, all at once. Get through these 3 shows. And I really feel like the worst thing to see on a Sunday is an empty table. It's kind of frowned upon. You should have enough inventory to last the whole show. It's very specialized. You know, it's, the same as, somebody making lures, if you're not a fisherman, you're like, huh? Well, they look really nice on a shelf. Very little drumsticks. I would guess there's more fishermen than there are fiber artists, yeah. Now, when you do something, that's very specialized, very niche, you could charge a little bit more because there's not a ton of people making them. Granted, in the last couple of years, you could go on Temu and get a Turkish spindle for $7, which would be in comparison to one that would be like $30 for one of mine. But I know what I'm doing. I'm just not looking at pictures and making something, you know. So could make cat toys. It's true. Don't you get bored of making these? Nope. I worked in factories for almost 20 years. And I would rather be doing something, you know, being self-employed. I can work as much or as little as I want to. You know, I'm not tied to this. And I'm also neurodivergent, so I'm kind of built for production work. Yeah, a couple of my friends, one makes little crocheted cat toys, kind of amigurumi-ish, and then another one sews little cat toys full of catnip. That's true. We're going to make this one into a 7-inch with some vibration on the end. They're not all going to turn out. Wood's a natural material. A lot of internal stresses in wood. Yeah, I don't know. My cats are just not toy-oriented these days. I don't know. Well, I'm also not home all the time. I'm at work a lot, too. So maybe they're freaking out with their toys all day long and just putting them back in the box when they're done. Yeah, you know, it's something like this. It looks real simple. I'm not saying it's rocket science by any means, but yeah, balance is important. I mean, will it work if it's not balanced? Yes. Is it going to be an enjoyable thing to use? No. You know, I used to sell quite a bit internationally before the whole political landscape of America these days. I used to sell a ton to Canada. Yeah, not so much these days. Yep, so my big countries were Canada, then Australia, and after that it was kind of a toss-up. You start getting into Europe. Usually the UK would be after that. Yeah, it's a little bit of anxiety, yeah. Why are you cutting me? Thank you. You know, I still do most of my spinning on spindles, but I do the majority of my plying on wheels. Have I ever made a Roman spindle? I have not. I'm not familiar with them. So currently I make top whirls, you know, and then low whirls with the circular whirls. I make Tibetan, Russian support spindles as well, Tibetan and Russian, and then a lot of Turkish. I also make a Scottish spindle. Let's see. Well, no, I'm fine. You know, I sell quite a bit, you know, in the United States, and my wholesale orders are still there. It's just, yeah, no. I can't, do I blame the Canadians for not wanting to buy something from the U.S.? Heck no. You know, it's back to you're not being nice to me, so I'm going to give you a 50% tariff. It doesn't matter if it's legal or not. I'm going to do it until I'm told I can't do it. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's hard, you know, people just starting out, well, everything looks the same. You know, I will go check out other spindle makers, and throughout the years, I'm a little bit behind in the chat. I've seen spindles that are absolutely gorgeous, you know, $100, if not more. And I'll pick it up and I'll spin it in my hand, and it's not balanced. So, as somebody who doesn't know, somebody starting out, how are they supposed to judge what's good and not? You know, the person's not demonstrating it. I'm a woodworker. I just made them. Isn't it pretty? It looks just as pretty as the expensive one, so obviously it's expensive. That's just kind of crazy. There's always, yeah, A1. I totally hear you. There's just way too many crafts in the world. Canada doesn't like the word tariff. Yeah, me either. You're gonna unsub me for the ignorance of politics? That is perfectly fine. I'm sure your economy is doing just great. I'm glad your 401k is doing well. And really, was I discussing politics? No, I'm discussing what's going on with the tariffs and my personal experience with it. If you're having a good time with the way things are right now, have at her. If not, shut the fuck up. It's that easy. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I can't believe I want people to have, you know, power over their own bodies. Silly me. I'm tired of winning. There's something to be said for empathy, and we can walk through what I'm doing here on the next one. Maybe a little less frazzled, I suppose. All right. So we're starting out with hard maple. I use doweling. I buy it oversized. The reason for that is for many years, I started out with square stock. So I'd buy a big board and cut it down into little square pieces and then turn them on the lathe. Doing it this way, it saves me the time. I don't have to machine it down, and I make a lot less wood chips because I'm not having to knock all the corners off. You have a hole in your roof, you either got to get it fixed or eat for the week. Yeah, I hear you. So I got it chucked up. Now I got it lined up with the center. I'm going to put it in. We're going to start out with a roughing gouge. So we're going to bring it down to size. So this is the biggest diameter we have. So we're going to bring it down to this diameter across the whole thing. Now I'm using this wrench as a caliper, so if it slips over the top, I know I'm on size. Now if you look at these black lines, and look at my story stick, they line up with the 8-inch. So this is my rough guide to where things have to happen. So I'm going to bring my taper and end it here with the roughing gouge, and then we're going to bring this diameter down to a hair under 1/4 of an inch. So now I'm going to switch from the roughing gouge to a spindle gouge. So this is much flatter. So roughing, spindle. I'm just going to do a quick sand here. And the reason for that is just this taper here, but you know, if you're going to get wet, you might as well go swimming. Now I'm going to see how this is running. So I'm going to back out the tailstock while I'm shutting it off. So it's still going to be spinning. Stop, back out. You can see it's still running nice and straight. So that's what we're shooting for. So I'm going to put my test whirl on there. And now you can see, if you look over here, I'm able to turn the lathe. So I'm turning this whole shaft here, the belt, and the motor. So I know we have good contact. So that's going to lock into the spindle. So I'm going to take my story stick that I made that cutout so I can register it against the front. I'm going to transfer my lines over. All right, we're going to start it back up. Now I'm going to make my beads to start with. Now I could use a skew chisel and go in from both sides to make that V shape. What I'm going to be using is a beading tool, so it's already got a V shape in it. Now since this is so thin, see how I can bend it when it's running? I'm going to support it with my hand. Give it a little wiggle. So I have my beads laid in. I'll grab my skew, I'm going to set it down like a scraper, and I'm going to lay out the finial, and then the diameter underneath the finial. And I'm going to take my spindle gouge, and I'm just going to blend those two lines together. Hey Christopher, how's it going? Welcome in. Now we're going to take our wire here, and we're going to burn lines in between the beads. It just makes them pop out a little bit more. A lot of times when you see turned items, they'll have lines burned in them, especially when you start looking at like those Mexican hot chocolate stirrers. They tend to have a bunch of bunch of lines burned in. It's just a really quick way to put contrast into your work. So now we're going to sand it out, starting with a medium and then going to a fine grit. So we're going to grab some wood chips. They are decorative. You can, you know, if you're starting with the leader, you could tie the leader on in between the beads if you wanted to. But mainly they're decorative. It makes them easier to identify as well. So So many years ago, like a decade ago, I used to burn in 2 lines. And then a couple other makers started burning in 2 lines. So I started burning in 1 line. And then somebody was burning in 1 line. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to put beads on the bottom. So they'll be different. And thus far, nobody has done the 2 beads on the bottom. So we got that, everything sanded out now. So we just have to cut it off on the bottom. Yeah, I'm not putting very much pressure on these at all. Sorry, I hit the camera. All of a sudden, vertigo started setting in. I'm like, oh man, the world's horrible. This looks like white oak to me. I don't think this is maple. If you look here, you can see the grain. It's embedded into the wood. These little dots. So these pores are way too big. This is white oak. So, thanks guys. Sending me the wrong wood. Yeah, I did sharpen my tools this morning. Actually, we did it on stream. It was pretty exciting. I was talking to myself. I think it was me and Dion in here. Yeah, this one is very bent. So you can see how far off that is. So we'll try bringing it up, but maybe we'll get away with it this way. A little bit of vibration in it. Hey B, how's it going? Welcome in. Yes. So yeah, I've been a fiber artist for quite a while. Been a woodworker longer, but I've been in the fiber arts industry, you know, for like 13 years. For the most part, we're pretty inclusive. We're a pretty inclusive bunch of people. There's always you're always going to have a percentage that are not, but for the most part. So it still feels wobbly. We'll see what it is once we back up the tailstock. Might be okay. We'll see. Now, if they're really bad, what I'll do is I'll set them aside, and then I'll cut the thing in half, or wherever the bend is real bad, and then I'll turn 2 smaller ones out of it. Not too bad. Good enough for the girls we go out with. Oh yeah. Let me grab a little one. So this is one of the smallest ones I make. So this is a mini, and this is more of a standard size. And I make them bigger than this too. So this is applying spindle. So this is the biggest one I make, and this is the smallest one I make. So, and there's a bunch of sizes between these two. So like the plying is for putting multiple pieces together. All right, speaker. Thanks for hanging out. Politics and all. Yeah. Have a good one. Do you remember when people could disagree about politics and not make a big deal about it? Do you remember those days? No, because those days never existed. Yeah. What's wrong with being bipartisan, about anything? If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. Yeah. Nope. Now, I live in a very Republican area. Very, very Republican. So I'm in Wisconsin, so if it wasn't for the big cities, it would be very, very Republican. But the population in the bigger cities kind of even everything out. So we got a gubernatorial race going on right now. So on the Republican side, we have Tom Tiffany, who is a very mega Republican, who is endorsed by Trump, but he does not mention that or talk about that or doesn't really... A lot of his signs are blue, not red. So they're kind of trying to space themselves away from that. And then on the Democrat side, we got Crowley, who's... left leading, but not as left as Hung was favored to win, and he was very, very left. But Crowley is a black gentleman, which is not going to help things out. With a bunch of the fun-loving people up here. So, we'll see. It'll be an interesting race. So, as far as the ad goes, it's just a bunch of mudslinging as always. So it'll be an interesting race. It really will. how's it going? Welcome in. So if you're just tuning in, we are making Turkish-style drop spindles that are used to spin yarn. This is what came before the spinning wheel. Hello, welcome in. Hey, busy. So, yes, so rubbing it with the wood chips on the top is burnishing. So think of it like a friction polish. Just makes it much, much smoother. So I'll sand it with a medium grit, then a fine grit, and then I'll burnish the surface. So before burnishing, there will be kind of like just a white area, and after burnishing, there'll be a white reflective line off it. What's up, little Tim? It's got a little vibration. We'll make a 7-inch. Sounds like stopping a racer scooter. Actually, we're gonna go 7. put on a little bit of paste wax. Yeah, I'm going to be doing this for 2 hours. So I got about, about 15 minutes left. And then when I'm done doing this, I am going to go sand for probably about an hour. And then I'll be back on the lathe probably for another 2 hours. Probably, well, we'll do sanding and then lunch. Then I'll spend a couple more hours on here and then probably be on the laser engraver for a little bit. Right? I was just gonna bring up my personal experiences about the economy to get yelled at again. So yeah, we are in production mode getting ready for some shows, some festivals. So if we weren't in, oh yeah, that one's bad. That one's not even worth trying to save. Look at that. Urgh. So when we're not in production mode on a normal day, I'd probably be on the lathe for an hour and then go do something else and then come back later. Any geese today? I did not see any this morning, but it was I left for work at about 5:30 and it was quite dark out. And there isn't a lot of lights around the pond. And it was kind of drizzly today too, which obviously the geese don't care about. But yeah, I think I only saw like 2 bunny rabbits today and like 1 squirrel. It wasn't a very critter viewing day. My eye test went all right. It's still moderate. So we're kind of in a holding pattern right now. It's not bad enough where I have to see an eye surgeon or whatever the step above, the doctor I saw. And it's not getting worse, so it's still moderate retinopathy. We'll see what happens 6 months from now. Right? It might be a nap today. Vicky only got like 4 hours of sleep, so I might pretend to be really tired so she can take her nap. We'll see. But napping is the best part about being self-employed. If you can get away with it, I say go for it. Especially when it's hot, there's nothing wrong with having a little siesta here and there. Working in factories, it was pretty common to sleep during breaks. And I did listen to Dark Side of the Moon after we got home. I put on my sleep mask and listened to Dark Side of the Moon. I get when my eyes are dilated, I get such bad headaches. Having a nap at my age is important. Yes it is. I'm 51. I think I'm pretty fly for a grandpa, you know. Just saying. It's getting to be that time. We'll do one more and then I'm going to call it a stream. I got to get packaging and go to the post office. And lunch is kind of in the wide open today. The breakfast burger is pretty good this morning. We have bacon. We got lettuce at home. Maybe we'll stop and pick up a tomato and have BLTs for lunch. That actually sounds really good. We got some Swiss rye. No leftovers. Actually, there are 2 pieces of pizza. That's what I ended up. I did a frozen pizza for supper. We just phoned it in. So there are 2 pieces of pizza. But if we share that, one little piece of pizza is not going to be lunch. So. I mean, we got you know, macaroni and cheese here. I got milk here and butter and macaroni and cheese too. Got rice too. I can do fried rice. Got eggs here. Turkey burgers. Yep, no turkey now. I had beef. Went through beef. Had beef patties. Uh-oh. What are the batteries for?
My mouse.
Oh, your mouse is messing up?
Keeps dying or
Okay.
it doesn't track. Like it'll track for a while.
Well, if your mouse continues to mess up, I have one that you can have if you need it. Try a battery first. This is my last shaft, and then I'm gonna come help package if that's okay.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about stopping at home, grabbing the lettuce, and stopping at Quick Trip and getting a tomato? And then we can have 1 slice of pizza and have some BLTs and then rye.
Yeah.
That sounds really good. Maybe pick up a bag of chips.
Sure.
So chips are okay as long as they're part of a meal. My diabetes, my rules. Yeah, I used to be a big snack guy. Crisps, yeah. Crisps. BLTs seem kind of, you know, like summery. Just some plain chips. Oh. Well, with the BLT, sour cream and onion would be good too. Cool, guys. Let's see how many we got done here.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16,
18 of these ready to go. We're ready for sanding. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Probably right around the same time. Yeah. Yes, doesn't cost you anything. And it makes them look even more like jerks. Have a great day.